So the purpose of this training is to review the new tools for the new EcSA grant. Most of the boards have already started working on these grants, and the new grants for the original 4 boards will be issued on April 1st. And I will share my screen with you. There it is. Share. There we are. Right. So on the screen, you should see the agenda for today's training. Following the introductions of the monitoring unit, we will look at the workforce professional site and where to find the tools, followed by a full review of the participant file checklist. Sorry, the adult participant file checklist. We will also look at the eligibility for the dislocated worker and out of school youth program, as well as everything else on the checklist on the dislocated worker and youth are the same as the adults. So we won't cover in full for the dislocated worker and the youth, just the adult, unless there's anything, of course, specific on those other checklists. But this will help us save some time. The EcSA review will begin on February 28th, and we appreciate your feedback and request that you send it to the ESD General Monitoring mailbox by close of business on February 24th. The final version of the tool will be finalized on February 25th. So I will pause for questions posted during the chat throughout the presentation. Of course, you can always send your questions to us via the general mailbox before our deadline of the 24th. And as a friendly reminder, I'd like to ask for the flow of the presentation that you mute your mic to help avoid distractions. And so now I'd like to start with introductions of our team members, beginning with our director, Greg. And if you would pass it along to another member when you're finished.
Thank you, Maria. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. Post Super Bowl week, we appreciate you making the time to be with us as we've worked to develop these tools, worked with our grant management and policy colleagues, and welcome your feedback to it as well. And so without further ado, I'll pass it off to Brooke Zielinski.
Good morning, everyone. I am Brooke Zielinski. I'm the Adult and Dislocated Worker and Discretionary NDWG Program Monitor. And I'll go ahead and pass it back to Maria so she can introduce herself.
All right, thank you, Brooke. I'm Maria Cheeseman, and I am the Program Monitor for the Youth and EcSA programs, and I will be your presenter today, and I will pass it to Kimberly.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is Kimberly Metcalf. I am the monitor for the RESEA program.
Is Diana here?
No, she's not.
All right. Sorry, Linda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Linda Brooks, and I am the administrative assistant for the workforce monitoring team as well. I also support another team as well, but I'm for this team half the time. So.
Thank you. And Jamie?
I don't think she's here. Looks like she's not here.
Okay. I can't see all the participants, so. Well, thank you, everyone. Now we will, I will share. Are you able to see the Workforce Professional Center?
Not yet. We're still seeing the agenda.
All right. Thank you, Linda. I apologize. We practiced yesterday, but we didn't use this platform. Lesson for me next time. And it doesn't, oh goodness. Is it sharing now?
You're good. We can see it.
Oh, thank goodness. I apologize for the blip. So what you're looking at is the Workforce Professional Website Center, and you can access that by going to wpc.wa.gov. And there are two ways that you can access our monitoring tools. The top bar here will take you to the monitoring page from this point, or you can click on these quick links down here under monitoring, and you'll see here it covers about monitoring, workforce monitoring, the tools and the calendars. So I'm going to jump here. And so this page gives a brief description about who we are and what we do, along with our contact information with emails, phone numbers, and then of course our team mailbox down here, workforce monitoring at esd.wa.gov. And this is where we would like you to send us your feedback or questions, again, by the close of business on the 24th. We appreciate that. And now I'd like to show you where the tools are housed. Originally, they were on the left here, but they have been embedded to the middle of the page under this paragraph here. And so from here, you can access all of our finalized tools for all of our programs. And along with, at the bottom, or near the bottom, sorry, here are the drafts of the EcSA tools. And once they are finalized, these drafts will be removed, and then the final versions will be posted here. Also, this recording session will be uploaded on this folder at the top for the training sessions once that is finalized and we are able to get that up for you. Are there any questions so far? All right, so with that, I would like to now share with you the adult checklist. And so the first thing I would like to call your attention to is the title of the checklist. This is the Economic Security for All checklist, participant file checklist with adult eligibility. And so each of the checklists call out which eligibility that the checklist pertains to. And so under the evidence and indicators column, the first bullets indicate the documents, what eligibility and priority of service, excuse me, priority of service for from the WIN, from WIN 109, change 5. And at the bottom, at the very bottom of this, here is where you can access this link to find the up-to-date state and federal COVID guidance during this evolving time. Currently, this the COVID enrollment exception is set to expire on March 31st. And I'm not sure if Gary is present with us from policy. Gary, if you are you able to speak to whether or not this is going to be an extension issued?
He's not on the call, Maria.
All right, thank you, Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, we don't have any updates whether this will be extended or not. And so under the eligibility for this, you will also see that we have added, and I've highlighted that we've added the 200% federal poverty level eligibility criteria, which is specific to this grant. And of course, the next bullet covers the documentation that is required to be found in case notes in ETO to meet compliance of this WIN with the corresponding dates to reflect changes that have been made. So this bullet here speaks to prior to December 3rd, and this is prior to December 3rd and beyond, sorry, along with these other bullets. Are there any questions here?
There are no questions in chat thus far.
Thank you. So I'll move to page 2. And so here again, to be eligible, to be eligible for enrollment in EcSA, an individual must be determined eligible for WIOA adult, youth, or dislocated worker programs and must fall below the 200% FPL at the time of eligibility determination. So the following sections on pages 2 and 3 address age, date of birth, selective service, registration, legally entitled to work. While these are not new to the checklist, but the validation of 200% below poverty must be verified in the participant's file through one of the following documents, whether that be TANF, other public assistance, food stamps, pay stubs, signed and dated application statement, or other source documentation. Are there any questions? All right. So moving forward, the elements on pages 5 through 7 are consistent with the WIOA adult enrollment process. So there's no new changes. There's no changes here or any new information. I apologize for the scrolling. On page 8, the requirements according to the statement of work are A, develop career plans for each EcSA participant that includes identification of self-sufficiency target using a self-sufficiency calculator. 2, based on career plans, connect EcSA participants to subsidized job training and other services allowable under WIOA that lead to employment above $34,480. And lastly, based on assessment of participants and their household needs, coordinate connection to supportive services and wraparound supports, including addressing mentorship, personal stability, financial stability, and to ensure each participant has the supports needed to focus on their career plan or subsidized training. So for the, while reviewing the file, I will be looking to see if the EcSA contract statement of work that all participants services received must be documented in ETO or its successor, and all WIOA services and outcomes must be recorded in ETO. And career plans, sorry, up here, I'll be looking for, did the participant receive career planning that included identification of self-sufficiency target using the self-sufficiency calculator? And then was an IEP developed and recorded into ETO? And then this section for the WIN 77 change 11 from the WorkSource service catalog defines EcSA one-to-one mentoring as providing one-to-one mentorship or coaching of at least 10 hours per year, can be provided by an employer, coworker, community member, or case management staff. Mentorship is intended to provide guidance, support, and encouragement to ensure participants experiences inclusion and feel strong support from their community. May include opportunities to support workplace preparedness and increase awareness of or exposure to additional resources or employment opportunities. And documentation must be maintained to demonstrate that the participant has received the 10 hours requirement. And for the, along with a single point in time event, this mentorship opportunity is a single point in time event or workshop intended to provide guidance, support, and encouragement to participants and build community and peer support. This may include opportunities to support workplace preparedness and increased awareness of or exposure to additional resources or employment opportunities. Can be provided in groups or on an individual basis. Examples include informational and life skill workshops, networking events, job shadowing, informational interviews, or employer-led workshops. Mentorship is applicable if the participant was connected to mentorship based on the individual need. And so I will be looking for that when I am reviewing the files. And then under reporting, was the EcSA one-to-one mentoring opportunity recorded into ETO? Are there any questions with these pieces, these sections?
Yes, Andrea Hickson asked, does WIN 77 include the requirement of using the self-sufficiency calculator for all customers, regardless of their goals established on their IEP?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Brooke?
So does WIN 77 include the requirement of using the self-sufficiency calculator for all customers, regardless of their goals established on their IEP? And I think if you want me to jump in for a second, I'm not positive on the WIN, which is the service catalog, because the requirement of using the self-sufficiency calculator is specific to the EcSA contract, which I believe it is not specific to any other contracts, but for this specific grant that is written into the statement of work.
Okay, I don't remember seeing it in the statement of work. I wanted clarification. We've been using other types of assessments often at intake and then using the self-sufficiency calculator for customers that are pursuing training. So I want to make sure we get that right, but I did not see it in the statement of work. I may have missed it, but I want to know the reference for where that requirement is.
Yeah, and your old contract didn't have that in there, Andrea, but the new one I believe does. It's the same for all of the boards have the exact same statement of work in the new grant.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea, great question. Are there any other questions, Brooke?
Not at this time.
Hey, Maria and Brooke, this is Greg. I just want to, I realized that we overlooked introducing somebody at the beginning of this that probably, and my overlook for that, and I apologize, but we should probably introduce Shannon Brundle as well, who is the EcSA grant manager, who's been instrumental in helping us developing these tools, and I know has been instrumental in developing the contracts for all the boards. So I just want to make sure, I saw Shannon earlier, I'm sure Shannon's still here. Just wanted to welcome Shannon as well. And Shannon, if there's anything that we're misstating, please feel free to clarify. We want to make sure we get these tools correct. We want to make sure we get the training correct. So, but welcome, Shannon.
Thank you, Greg.
My apologies, Shannon.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, I'm here for support as needed. Thanks, everyone.
Maria, this is Jamila from Benton Franklin. I have one question, and this may be directed to Shannon. So when it comes to the one-on-one mentoring or the group mentoring portion of this contract and services, for Benton Franklin, we use that as an optional service. So based on the monitoring checklist that is being presented today, it implies that all areas are required to do a 10-hour mentoring service to all participants. Is that correct, Shannon?
Thank you for the question, Jamila. It does, like, it reads that way, but that is why the option in the second column of the NA, mentorship not provided at the time of mentoring, is acceptable, because it was required in the past, and in the new contracts it is not.
Okay, so I guess my only suggestion for this monitoring checklist would be to have NA, but also have no documented evidence service or services was provided, because the way that I'm looking at it, it implies that we are supposed to be providing it.
All right.
Because the NA says mentorship not provided at the time of monitoring. However, in my area, we may not be recording this service at any time of monitoring. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for that. If you could put that in chat as well, Jamalet, so we remember to look at that, that would be really helpful.
I
Okay.
completely agree, because my heart stopped a little bit too, thinking we aren't doing mentorship at all. So yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification on that. I will put on the chat. Thanks.
Thank you. And that's a wonderful example of why we like to do this with everyone, because there's just so many parts. And when we have an opportunity to make this better, then we really appreciate the feedback. All right, well, if there are no more questions or things to share, I will move on through the checklist. And I won't scroll all the way through, but from this section on page 9 here, all the way through to the end of the adult participant file checklist there's no changes on this, and it is as is the adult file set for compliance. So on pages 9 to 15, it is individual career and training support services. Page 16 addresses outcomes. 19 addresses program exit, and then page 20 to the bottom is data integrity. So there's no changes or additions to the rest of the checklist. If you'd like me to scroll down, I'm happy to do it, but I'm trying to save on making anybody feel queasy with scrolling. If there are no other questions for this participant file checklist, I'll move on to dislocated worker.
There's nothing else in chat thus far.
All right. There we are. And everyone can see the dislocated worker participant file checklist.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, thank you. So again, just calling your attention that this participant file checklist is for the dislocated worker eligibility. And again, here on the COVID, what we have added, this section, we've added the 200% FPL eligibility criteria that is specific to the grant. Everything else on this checklist is the same as we reviewed on the adult participant file checklist. So that is the one addition to this file, this checklist. Any questions here? All right, I'll move on to the youth. All right. And so for here, this is the youth eligibility checklist. We did want to call out that these are for youth 18 and older, as well as being a participant below the 200% FPL. Everything else on this checklist is the same as the adult participant file checklist. I do want to share that with youth for objective assessment, ISS, and one of the 14 program elements are not required for EcSA. However, if you co-enroll a youth for the OSY, these still are part of these elements are still part of that program. Are there any questions? All right. Great. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here today. That concludes the review of the session for the EcSA monitoring tools. We look forward to your feedback. We know it takes time, but we do appreciate any feedback that you can give us. And we also like to remind you that the questions and comments can be sent to the Workforce Monitoring mailbox at esd.wa.gov by the 24th. Close the business on Thursday, the 24th of February, and that you will find the finalized versions in the tool in the section of the WPC website. Is there anything from the team that you would like to add?
No, thank you.
No, just want to thank everyone for being here. Of course, as you review the tools, if you have other questions, you know, we want to acknowledge the work that grants management working with all of you have done to try to make more consistency in how the EcSA grants are done. It makes so we don't have unique tools for each area, and then it hopefully it creates it makes it simpler for everyone to implement and know what they'll be held accountable to, and removes questions. So, but as you review these tools, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. And like I said, we're joined at the hip with Shannon on these things. We'll make sure that what's in the grants and what's in the tools are aligned. And we really appreciate everyone's time. So thank you so much for making the time today.
Thank you, everyone.